She's the woman who's stolen the world and vanished without a trace. Mastermind thief, globetrotting ghost, and enigma in scarlet. Carmen Sandiego is more than just a criminal. She's a mystery wrapped in sophistication, moving with the brilliance and style that even those chasing her can't help but stop and admire her. But is there more to this iconic villain than her next big heist? From hidden clues left to taunt the pursuers to a world of treasures waiting to be claimed, Carmen's score will answer one question. Just how does she stack up against the world of villains? We find that out today in Villain Ranking.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities.
But first, for you kids out there, a little history. You see, Carmen Sandiego was first introduced in 1985, which was approximately 400 years ago, through an educational computer game called Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego by Broderbund Software. The character was created to make geography and world cultures more engaging for children, prompting players to solve cases by following clues about world facts. The game's success led to several sequels and adaptations, including Where in the USA, Where in Europe, and Where in Time is Carmen Sandiego. Carmen's popularity continued to rise, resulting in a game show and eventually, in 1994, the animated television series Where on Earth is Carmen Sandiego? It depicted Carmen as a highly intelligent and sophisticated thief, elevating her character from the game origins into a fully fleshed out personality with motivations beyond simple crime. The show would inspire adaptations across various media, including books, comics, and in 2019, a Netflix series. Carmen Sandiego's past is mysterious, with only hints provided in the animated series and virtually nothing given in the PC version. Originally a top agent of the Acme Detective Agency, she eventually left dissatisfied with the lack of challenge her work provided. Driven by a thirst for intellectual stimulation, Carmen founded VILE, Villains International League of Evil, assembling a team of skilled criminals to execute high-stakes heists around the globe. Though she is technically a villain, Carmen often operates on her own code, usually avoiding harm to people and stealing for the thrill rather than financial gain. Carmen is characterized by her intelligence, charisma, and meticulous planning, making her one of the most sophisticated thieves in fiction. She is known for her distinctive red trench coat, wide-brimmed hat, and her trademark cunning that enables her to stay one step ahead of her pursuers. Carmen frequently leaves clues behind, essentially challenging law enforcement, and especially the Acme detectives Zack and Ivy, to catch her. Her personal code and complex moral framework add depth to the character, creating a morally gray figure rather than a straightforward villain. Now today we'll be applying Riot's patented villain score to Carmen Sandiego, where we can then evaluate her intellect, leadership, successes, and morality, all to calculate her overall score and where she stands in the grand scheme of things in terms of other villains. Will she stand to the test of time and be as great as Andrew Ryan? Or will she flutter out, perhaps become an anti-hero? I suppose we'll see, won't we? Okay, let's get started. The first on the block is intellect. Carmen Sandiego's defining trait is her intellect, by far. As one of the most cunning thieves in fictional history, she possesses an almost unrivaled knowledge of world cultures, language, geography, and history, which she leverages with precision in her elaborate schemes. Her intellect isn't just a practical tool, it's the entire basis for her worldview and her driving motivation. Carmen doesn't steal for money or power, she steals for the challenge, to match wits with the best detectives and keep them constantly on their toes. Each heist she pulls off is a calculated masterpiece, choreographed to the smallest detail, which places her intellect well above average among most of the intelligent villains. Carmen's heists are usually global, often involving famous cultural artifacts like the Mona Lisa, ancient relics, or even national monuments. Her grasp of geography and cultural specifics allow her to infiltrate secure sites worldwide with precision. For example, in Where on Earth is Carmen Sandiego, she evades capture repeatedly through knowledge of obscure facts about the places she targets, such as local customs and historical details that even her pursuers find themselves giving struggle to keep up with. These clues, often intellectual puzzles themselves, are designed to test the Acme agents while reflecting Carmen's deep respect for her opponent's abilities. Carmen's intellect is not just academic or strategic, it's also psychological. She knows her opponents well enough to play a long game of cat and mouse, often planting clues that she knows will lure Acme detectives exactly where she wants them. Her clues aren't necessary to her schemes, but are left as a testament to her confidence about her superiority, almost as if she's daring them to catch her. This psychological understanding not only gives her the upper hand, but also highlights her intellect as more than just a technical bit of knowledge. She anticipates people's actions, exploits their assumptions, and respects them just enough to keep the game interesting. Carmen's ability to concoct unconventional heists shows an innovative side to her intellect. Each mission requires a creative solution and thorough understanding of her surroundings. Whether she's evading complex security systems or timing her moves with precision, Carmen's planning shows a lot of talent for improvisation and adaptability. Her knack for pulling off the seemingly impossible further elevates her intellect score, as her heists aren't simply replays of the same formula, they're each a unique challenge that she takes on with fresh ingenuity. For all of this, we're going to give Carmen a 95 in intelligence. Carmen's intellect is nearly flawless. She's consistently ahead of even the brightest detectives. Her plans are as complex as they are ingenious, and her insights into the minds of her opponent demonstrate a mastery few villains possess. While she leaves the occasional clue and allows her adversaries close calls, this is by choice rather than failure, serving only to emphasize her unmatched confidence in her own brilliance. And now moving on to leadership. Carmen Sandiego's leadership is subtle, yet effective incredibly, rooted in her charisma, respect for talent, and a hands-off approach that fosters loyalty among her associates. As a founder and head of Vile, Carmen demonstrates a unique leadership style that sets her apart from traditional villains who rely on intimidation or brute force. She's a leader who inspires rather than commands, and her ability to bring together a diverse team of criminals shows her knack for finding and nurturing talent with minimal interference. Carmen's charisma and intellect create an aura of respect that draws skilled operatives to work with her willingly. She treats her team as trusted allies rather than disposable minions, recognizing and valuing each individual's unique talents. In Where on Earth is Carmen Sandiego, her interactions with her associates reveal a level of respect and trust rare in a villain. She gives her team room to operate independently, showing confidence in their skills, which in turn builds loyalty. Rather than micromanaging, Carmen relies on her team's expertise and trusts them to handle their roles, fostering a collaborative environment even within a criminal organization. This approach reflects her understanding that loyalty born of respect is far more powerful than her loyalty born of fear. Carmen's leadership also appeals to the intellect and ambition of her associates. As someone who operates by outsmarting her opponents, Carmen surrounds herself with people who thrive on that same challenge. By framing her heists as intellectual puzzles and daring feats, she taps into aspirations of her team members, encouraging them to rise to the occasion and perform at their best. For instance, Carmen often involves her team members in intricacies of the heist, letting them in on her grand schemes and respecting their input. The intellectual appeal makes working with Carmen about more than just crime, really. It becomes an art form, a test of skill and wits. This shared intellectual pursuit strengthens her role as a leader, as her team feels like part of something larger, elevating crime to a thrilling challenge rather than a routine task. Unlike many villains who lash out or blame their subordinates when things go wrong, Carmen remains calm and composed, showcasing another aspect of her effective leadership. In situations where Acme detectives get too close for comfort, she exhibits quick thinking and adaptability, often without needing to panic or pressure her team. Her level-headedness during critical moments reassures her associates who can rely on her judgment and composure. This composed approach reinforces the trust her team places in her, as they know she will remain rational and guide them effectively, even in high-stakes situations. Based on this, we are going to give her a leadership score of 80. Carmen's leadership score reflects her ability to inspire loyalty, respect, and high performance from her team without resorting to force or intimidation. Her collaborative approach, rooted in respect and intellectual engagement, creates an environment where her associates feel valued and empowered. However, she is not a traditional leader in the same actively rallying or directly managing her team kind of sense. Her hands-off style means that she occasionally risks less coordinated outcomes, keeping her score just below the highest marks. Nevertheless, her ability to command loyalty through respect and inspiration makes her one of the most effective leaders in the criminal underworld. All right, let's talk about successes. Carmen Sandiego's career as a master thief is marked by a nearly flawless track record of success, underscored by her uncanny ability to execute elaborate heists and competently evade capture. She steals high-profile treasures from around the world with a level of precision and cleverness that leaves even the most skilled detectives at Acme baffled. While some villains boast about their grand plans only to be foiled by a hero in the end, Carmen's successes are enduring. Each heist she pulls off reinforces her legendary status as one of the most successful criminals in fiction. Her achievements speak not only to her strategic genius, but also to her dedication to pulling off the seemingly impossible, making her a nearly untouchable force in the world of crime. One of Carmen's greatest accomplishments is her ability to execute intricate heists targeting some of the world's most secure and prestigious locations. In Where on Earth is Carmen Sandiego, she managed to steal internationally significant artifacts like the Sphinx's nose and the Eiffel Tower's antenna, and even Big Ben's clock face. Each of these heists involve a level of planning and technical skill that demonstrates her mastery of the craft. These heists are high risk, involving complex security systems, tight deadlines, and high visibility, yet Carmen always manages to slip away unscathed. Her success rate with all of these heists is a testament to her ability to calculate risk, anticipate potential setbacks, and flawlessly execute her plans, which would be a logistical nightmare for most villains. Carmen's skill in evading capture is as impressive as her thievery. Even when the Acme agents Zack and Ivy manage to trace her movements or catch up to her, she's always one step ahead, slipping out of their grasp at the last possible moment. Her consistent success in eluding capture shows not only her escape artistry, but also her deep understanding of her adversaries' tactics and limitations. In the series, Carmen often leaves clues as part of the game, but even with these hints, Acme's top agents rarely come close to apprehending her. This almost perfect record to escape underscores her supremacy in the realm of criminal strategy. She's not only successful in pulling off her crimes, but also in ensuring that she remains untouchable, reinforcing her mythic status as a master thief. Beyond individual heists, Carmen's overall success lies in her ability to cultivate an image that is as untouchable as it is legendary. Her heists are more than just crimes, they are spectacles that capture the world's attention. Carmen deliberately crafts her persona, leaving clues and taunting Acme not because she has to, but because it solidifies her legacy as a villain who defies the system with style. This reputation works to her advantage, as her renown often causes her adversaries to question their own methods and drives them to pursue her with a mix of admiration and frustration. Carmen not only has stolen treasures, she's also stolen the public's imagination, making her a household name. This long-term success in cementing her legacy as an elusive and iconic criminal underscores her effectiveness far beyond individual heists, contributing to her untouchable status. That being said, I think it's only appropriate that we give good old Carmen Sandiego here a score of 85. Her high successes reflect her impeccable track record, her mastery of complex heists, and her ability to remain elusive in the face of determined opposition. She consistently pulls off impressive crimes with grace, rarely faltering or allowing herself to be caught. The only factor keeping her score just below perfect is her self-imposed limitation to avoid harm and leave clues within the authorities for them to figure out. While this limitation adds a complexity to the character, it occasionally allows her opponents to get closer than they might have otherwise. Nonetheless, Carmen's successes are nearly unparalleled, making her one of the most accomplished and effective villains in any narrative. Okay, Carmen Sandiego's morality is one of the most nuanced and intriguing qualities. Although she operates as a master thief, she upholds a personal code that differentiates her from villains who engage in crime purely for power, revenge, or profit. Carmen's motives and methods reflect a complex, layered approach to morality. She pursues challenges and intellectual satisfaction over malice or greed, and she avoids causing harm whenever possible. This moral ambiguity makes her a sympathetic and even admirable character despite her criminal status, as she holds herself to a set of ethical boundaries that reveal her respect for human life, history, and culture. One of the more significant aspects of Carmen's morality is her commitment to nonviolence. Unlike many villains who use force or cruelty to achieve their ends, Carmen carefully avoids harming anyone in her heists. She engages in a crime purely for the intellectual thrill, and her crimes are meticulously planned to prevent unnecessary confrontation. In the cartoon, she's frequently outsmarting and evading Acme agents without resorting to violent means, displaying a clear aversion to causing physical harm. This code against violence reflects a level of restraint and respect that places her outside the category of purely evil characters. For Carmen, the thrill of the heist is intellectual and strategic. The idea of causing harm would diminish the artistry of her crimes, distracting from the challenge and sense of purpose she seeks. Another facet of Carmen's morality is her evident respect for culture and history. Although she steals historical artifacts and culturally significant treasures, she often expresses admiration for the objects she takes, showing a deep appreciation for their value beyond monetary worth. For Carmen, these artifacts symbolize the heritage and achievements of humanity, and her thefts are almost reverent. In some cases, she even takes precautions to ensure these treasures aren't damaged or permanently lost. This respect highlights an unusual moral compass for the criminal mastermind, suggesting that she sees herself as more of a curator of rare artifacts than a mere thief. Her approach to crime seems to stem from a fascination with these artifacts rather than a desire to deprive the world of its heritage. Carmen's motivation stems from the thrill of a challenge rather than the greed or malice, which significantly impacts her moral standing. She doesn't rob banks, exploit people, or engage in petty crimes. She pursues only high-stake targets that challenge her intellect. In the cartoon show, her heists often function as a grand intellectual puzzle where she pits her wits against the agents of Acme. Carmen's behavior suggests that her crimes are almost a game, a way to test her abilities rather than to satisfy any dark impulses. She often leaves clues for Acme, almost inviting them to catch her, as if she sees them as equals on the grand game of cat and mouse. This mindset speaks to her code, where she respects those who challenge her and shows restraint towards her opponents, only taking what she considers part of the intellectual duel. Carmen Sandiego's morality is complex and multifaceted. It reflects a criminal who is principled rather than ruthless. Her commitment to nonviolence, respect for cultural treasures, and thrill-seeking motivates her to operate in a sense of honor in some ways, amongst other villains. Her high morality code reflects these qualities, and for that, we're going to go ahead and give her a 70. In the end, Carmen Sandiego stands out as a character who defies the conventional mold of being a villain. While her heists are clever and escapes are wrapped in a lighthearted, almost playful tone, her unique moral code and complex motivations elevate her from mere criminal to a true mastermind. Carmen operates by her own rules, stealing for the thrill and leaving her challenges with tantalizing clues. Not to cause harm, but to kind of just engage in a high-stakes intellectual duel that results in both sides in awe of her skill. She's a thief with principles, respecting her opponents and the world's cultural treasures, adding a layer of sophistication and nuance to her role. Though she may not embody the menacing seriousness of the other villains, and I've ranked a few terrible ones, Carmen's impact lies in her subtlety, intellect, and respect for the art of the heist. She may live outside the law, but her approach, her intelligence, and her nonviolent methods make her truly captivating as a figure. Carmen may not fit the classical definition of an antagonist, but her cunning, charisma, and ethical boundaries has earned her a walloping 82 in the Riot's villain score. But who should we put in the next test? Drop your picks for the next villain so that I can rank them. Put them in the comments below and let us know who's worthy of my villain score treatment, huh? Thanks for watching, and remember, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? I'll tell you where she is. You can never find her. The game is hard as balls, and no one could ever find her. The game's impossible. Just watch the cartoon. You'll get far more gratification, trust me. Okay, bye.